Okay, this time I will tell you about 14 Greek mythological creatures that are rarely known. Before watching, don't forget to like, share and subscribe first to be safe from these creatures. 1. Greek mythological creature, Centaur. Centaurs are creatures raised that are half human and half horse. Their bodies are horses, but their torsos, chests, arms and heads are humans. Centaur is said to be the child of Ixion, king of the Lapiths, and Nephili, a cloud created by the goddess Hera. Another myth states that the result of the relationship between Ixion and Nephili gave birth to Centaurus, a deformed child who is considered the forerunner of the centaurs in the world. However, because they always quarreled with humans, the centaurs were expelled from Mount Olympus to Mount Pelion. There, he married a mare Magnesia and the centaur breed was born. Most centaurs are depicted as wild creatures. However, there is one centaur named Chiron who is different because he is the wisest, simplest and most civilized. He lived on Mount Pelion and had healing skills, as well as teaching several Greek mythical figures, such as Achilles and Aesculapius. Like other centaurs, Chiron is immortal. However, he was accidentally injured by Hercules' arrow. The arrow was covered in Hydra blood, so Chiron was in great pain. 2. Cerberus. Cerberus is a Greek mythological creature in the form of a giant three-headed dog. He is a descendant of other Greek mythological creatures, Typhon and Echidna. In fact, the number of heads Cerberus was described and differed by ancient writers, but the most popular version was that it had 3 fearsome dog heads. Cerberus is also called the dog of Hades, god of the underworld hell. Because he works for Hades, Cerberus' job is to guard the gates of the underworld and ensure that the dead who enter the underworld never leave there. One time, Hercules went to the underworld to bring Cerberus as one of his tasks. Hercules was able to defeat Cerberus with his bare hands and was one of 3 figures who could trick bypass Cerberus, the others being Orpheus with his music and Sibyl of Cumae with her honey cake. However, Cerberus never hurt anyone, so Hercules had no reason to kill him. Therefore, Cerberus was returned to his guard post alive. 3. Chimera. Chimera is a creature from Greek mythology whose appearance is terrible. This creature is like a combination of 3 different animals, namely the body and head of a lion, the head of a goat emerging from its back, and the tail, which ends in the form of a snake's head. In addition, Chimera is able to emit fire from all 3 of its heads at once and kill its victims from a distance. Chimera is also the child of Typhon and Echidna, so you could say Chimera is Cerberus' brother. Many believe in the presence of Chimera, or if they see Chimera, it is a sign that there will be a terrible disaster, such as storms, shipwrecks, and, most often, volcanic eruptions. Chimeras live in Lycia and often destroy the lands of the local people with their fire breath. To protect his people, the Lycian king Lobates asked Bellerophon, a Corinthian hero, to kill Chimera. Bellerophon needed help to carry out this task. Therefore, he asked for directions at the temple of the goddess Athena, but then fell asleep. As soon as he woke up, he saw the goddess in front of him giving him the horse Pegasus. Bellerophon immediately rode the flying horse to the Chimera's nest. From a height, Bellerophon was about to stab Chimera with a spear whose tip was coated with lead. The Chimera opened its mouth to spit out fire, but the spear immediately pierced its throat and the molten lead on the tip of the spear flooded its internal organs. Chimera weakened and finally died. 4. Cyclops. The Cyclops form is a giant creature, the child of Uranus and Gaia, who has extraordinary strength and is a skilled blacksmith. One of their distinctive characteristics is having one eye protruding from their forehead. However, their great power made their father, the god Uranus, Zeus' grandfather, throw the Cyclops into the pit of Tartarus. The Cyclops remained imprisoned in Tartarus when Cronus overthrew Uranus and became ruler of the universe. The Cyclops were only released when Zeus came to power. As a sign of gratitude, Cyclops made Zeus a lightning-shaped weapon which later became Zeus' trademark. In another mythology about Odysseus' journey, a different type of Cyclops is told, namely a race of one-eyed shepherds who lived in caves on the island of Sicily. These Cyclops found Odysseus and his crew trapped in a cave. The Cyclops refused to free them. The Cyclops also began to use Odysseus's crew. Odysseus then offers Polyphemus wine from his ship. Cyclops accepted the offer and drank until he was drunk. Odysseus then pierced the eyes of the Cyclops while they were asleep and managed to escape with his cunning. 5. Medusa. Gorgons are 3 female Greek mythological creatures, but have bubbly faces and snake hair. They are Stheno, Euryale, and, most popularly, Medusa. They are the daughters of Echidna and Typhon. Medusa herself was once the only human of the 3 siblings and was very beautiful. Her beauty attracted the attention of the sea god, Poseidon, who tried to seduce her in the sacred temple of Athena. Goddess Athena was angry because this happened before her eyes. Athena then transformed Medusa into a terrifying creature with the ability to turn anyone who looked at her face into stone. Seriphus then ordered the Greek hero, Perseus, to kill Medusa. Perseus managed to cut off his head and give it to King Seriphus, before offering it to the goddess Athena. Athena placed the terrible Medusa on her shield to terrify her enemies. 6. Pegasus. Pegasus is one of the most popular creatures from Greek mythology. Its form is a beautiful white horse. The flying horse is the child of Poseidon and Medusa, who was born from the neck of his pregnant mother when she was beheaded by Perseus. Pegasus was then taken by the goddess Athena to Mount Helicon and raised by a woman named Muses. Because he was happy to be looked after by the Muses, Pegasus hit the side of the mountain with his hooves and a spring of water came out. It is said that this water can inspire inspiration and creativity if someone, especially poets, drinks it. Pegasus is also known as the horse of the Greek hero, Bellerophon, who tamed him with the golden bridle of the goddess Athena. Bellerophon caught Pegasus while the stallion was drinking water at the Pyrenean spring. Bellerophon then rode Pegasus to conquer the Amazons, Chimera, and the Seleni tribe. After gaining many victories against various types of opponents, Bellerophon began to believe that he was not worthy of living among mortals and would be better off on Olympus with the gods. Bellerophon then headed for Mount Olympus riding his faithful horse. However, Zeus was angry at Bellerophon's arrogance. He also sent stinging flies that stung Pegasus. The winged horse felt pain and accidentally dropped Bellerophon to earth. Pegasus was then tamed by Zeus, lived on Olympus, and was tasked with pulling his lightning chariot. Pegasus was always by Zeus' side in every battle. As a reward for his loyalty, Zeus placed Pegasus in the constellation in the sky. 7. Sirens. Initially, sirens were described by ancient poets as beautiful girls with bird bodies. There are also those who describe Siren as a beautiful girl with bird's feet. As time went by, the daughter of the river god, Achelous, and the muse was drawn like a mermaid with a long tail. Whatever the depiction, sirens are always told to have voices and songs that are able to lure sailors who pass by the island where they live to crash into the rocks on the island. One of the famous siren stories is her meeting with Odysseus. When he was about to pass the island of the Sirens on his adventure, Odysseus was warned about their danger. He told his crew to put beeswax in their ears so they wouldn't hear the siren's song. Meanwhile, Odysseus asked them to tie him to the mast because he wanted to hear the singing of the sirens. As expected, when passing the singing sirens, Odysseus lost control and asked the crew to untie him. However, when the ship had been warned, the ship tightened the rope that tied Odysseus and only released it when he had passed the sirens. The sirens themselves are destined to die if anyone survives their song. Once Odysseus and his crew passed the sirens unharmed, the creatures threw themselves into the sea and drowned. 8. Hydra. As the brother of Cerberus and Chimera, it is not surprising that Hydra is a terrible supernatural creature. It takes the form of a giant water snake with claws like a reptile. Has many heads. There are actually 9 heads. Its breath is poisonous gas. Even its blood is a deadly poison. The Hydra was kept by Hera, the wife of Zeus, and kept in the ancient lake at Lerna. In its nest, the Hydra hides in a cave in water, which is said to be the entrance to the underworld. Hydra has extraordinary regenerated properties. Every time a head is cut off, 2 new heads will grow in that place. The growth is also very fast. In addition, one of the heads is immortal, so it is difficult to behead, but it is unknown which head is which. The nature of the Hydra's regeneration made it difficult for Hercules, who was tasked with killing it. All the weapons that Hercules carried, scythe, sword, staff, were unsuccessful in killing the Hydra. Hercules' last trick was that once he cut off one of the Hydra's heads, he immediately burned the base of its neck so that a new head would not grow. This technique was carried out successfully. The eternal head of the Hydra was also cut by Hercules using a golden sword lent by the goddess Athena. The head remains alive even though it is separated from the body. Therefore, Hercules placed it under a large rock. 9. Minotaur. The Minotaur has a head, shoulders, arms and legs like a bull, only its body is human. The birth of the Minotaur began when the king of Crete, Minos, refused to slaughter a white bull as an offering to the god Poseidon. Poseidon was angry and punished Minos by cursing his wife, Pasiphae, to fall in love with a bull. Pasiphae then became pregnant and gave birth to the Minotaur. Apart from being half animal and half human, the Minotaur is also a man-eater. To hide the Minotaur, Minos built a labyrinth under his palace. The story goes that King Minos once lost his son, Androgeus, who was killed in Athens by local residents. King Minos then attacked Athens and achieved victory. As penance for the murder of Androgeus, every year, the Athenians were forced to send 7 young men and 7 women to the island of Crete. On Crete, they were released into a labyrinth and became prey to the Minotaur. Once, the Athenian hero Theseus volunteered to be sent to Crete as an offering. Upon arrival in Crete, Theseus, assisted by King Minos' daughter, Ariadne, entered the labyrinth first. Theseus enters holding a thread to help him return to the labyrinth door later. He was also able to find a Minotaur sleeping in the middle of a large underground space labyrinth. Theseus then killed the Minotaur with a stick-hand sword. After that, guide other Athenians who are still trapped in the labyrinth to get out of the labyrinth. They then fled back to Athens. Theseus also took Ariadne with him, but left her on an island on his way back to Athens. 10. Charybdis and Scylla. Just meeting one vicious Greek mythological creature is terrifying, let alone 2 at once. That's what Odysseus experienced on his journey. When passing through a narrow body of water, which is believed to be the Strait of Messina, he had to face 2 creatures named Charybdis and Scylla. Charybdis form is never explicitly described other than being mentioned as a ferocious sea creature that lives under a fig tree near a narrow strait. They swallow and excrete water 3 times a day in large volumes, thus creating a whirlpool that can destroy the entire ship. Meanwhile, Scylla is said to live in the same narrow strait, but on the opposite side from the location of Charybdis. The form of Scylla is a very large female creature, having 12 legs, 6 heads with a long neck like a snake. Each head has teeth like a shark, and the body near her feet is surrounded by the heads of vicious dogs. Scylla lives in a cave and will eat anything that passes in front of the cave and can be reached, including the crew of Odysseus' ship, who was forced to pass through the Strait of Messina on their journey. At that time, Odysseus decided to sail closer to Scylla's side to avoid Charybdis' whirlpool. Unfortunately, when the ship sailed, Scylla immediately captured 6 of the crew and destroyed Odysseus' ship. Odysseus was stranded on a raft and was about to sail the strait a second time. This time, he tried to sail past Charybdis' side. The raft is sucked into a large whirlpool, but Odysseus manages to survive by holding onto the overhanging branches of a fig tree. Several hours later, the raft was able to return to the surface. Odysseus rushed to reach the raft and immediately sailed through the strait. 11. Sphinx. So far, we know the Sphinx as a mythological creature from ancient Egyptian civilization. In fact, he was also one of the mythical creatures in ancient Greece who had the body of a lion, the head of a woman, the wings of an eagle, and the tail of a snake. The Sphinx in ancient Greek tradition was a gatekeeper and was often depicted above tombs. The myth about the Sphinx is a creature that likes to give riddles to people who want to pass by them. If the riddle fails to be answered, the Sphinx will eat the person. Like the story of Oedipus, who one day wanted to travel to Thebes on foot. On the way, he met the Sphinx and was given a riddle if Oedipus wanted to pass it. Until then, no one had been able to defeat the Sphinx. The riddle reads, what object walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 legs at dusk? Oedipus answered, human, because humans walk on 4 legs crawling when they are children morning, 2 legs when they are adults afternoon, and 3 legs with the help of a stick when they get older dusk. Oedipus' answer turned out to be correct. Sphinx, who finally lost in his own game, then fell from a high cliff. There is also a version of the story that says the Sphinx devoured itself out of anger and frustration. 12. Amphisbaena. Amphisbaena is a snake with 2 heads each at the end of its body and is often hunted because it has many benefits. According to myth, the amphisbaena emerged from the blood that dripped from Medusa's severed head when Perseus flew over the Libyan desert. Apart from having the appearance of an ordinary snake, there are also those who describe amphisbaena as having legs and wings, even having horns. Amphisbaena is an ant-eater. However, when Cato's army of heroes passed by and encountered the amphisbaena, along with other snakes, the amphisbaena ate the corpses left behind. Another ability of amphisbaena is that if it is cut in half, the two parts are joined. Amphisbaena has venomous fangs on its two heads. Two heads can do different things: cry, laugh, sleep, etc. Can glide quickly even if one moves in the opposite direction. Rolls, and is warm-blooded. Amphisbaena is also hunted because its skin is efficacious in curing arthritis and flu. Apart from that, there is a myth that a person's attractiveness will increase if they consume amphisbaena meat. Also, killing amphisbaena on the moon is full will give strength to people who like to do good. 13. Griffins. Unlike other Greek mythological creatures, which are fierce and savage, the griffin actually symbolizes strength and knowledge. The form of a griffin is that the front body and wings are an eagle and the back body and tail are a lion. Therefore, the griffin is a combination of strength and courage in one creature. Griffins usually roam in groups and are difficult to tame. However, once successful, they will be very loyal to their master. Griffins have more strength than cows or horses and have the ability to fly. Therefore, some griffins once pulled the chariots of the Greek gods. Griffin once pulled the chariot of the sun god, Apollo. Apollo's characteristics as the god of wisdom are strengthened by the presence of Griffin, who also has the same character. Griffins have also served as transportation for Nemesis, who is a protective and guardian goddess, as well as an avenger of injustice. This again fits Griffin's characteristics. 14. Typhon. There are Greek mythological creatures. There is Echidna. Of course there is Typhon. Like his partner, Echidna, as the mother of monsters, Typhon is called the father of monsters whose offspring include, among others, Cerberus, Hydra, Chimera. Typhon's form is terrifying. His height exceeds the highest mountain on earth. His head is said to reach the sky. The reach of his arms reaches both ends of the earth. He had a human body, but from the bottom of his body to his feet were two poisonous snakes that kept moving and hissing. His upper body was partly human, but on his shoulders were 100 snake heads that were constantly hissing. His fingers are in the form of dragon heads and his eyes emit fire that he can control. Typhon has wings that when spread out can block sunlight. Typhon is the youngest son of the goddess Gaia and Tartarus and is related to the Titans. It's no wonder that Typhon is so powerful and intimidating. Typhon was so confident in his strength that he dared to challenge Zeus. His goal is to take revenge for the death of his children and want to rule the world. The great battle between Typhon and Zeus caused countless earthquakes and tsunamis. Typhon's power even tore most of Zeus' muscles. Luckily, Zeus was restored by Athena. Zeus then threw 100 thunderbolts directly at Typhon's head. Later, Typhon was taken and sealed under Mount Etna in Sicily. Until now, it is believed that Typhon still harbors anger and continues to struggle to get out from beneath the earth. His anger manifested in the form of a volcanic eruption. Those are Greek mythological creatures. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.